Sean said, lock her up about Hillary Clinton. That wasn't policy, that was purification.
Greetings. Annyeong. Um, this actual stream was supposed to be on why was I left behind. So it looks like it redid the Ender's Game. But this specific episode was about the why I was left behind for the Apostate Church. And I wanted to read this to you really quickly. It says 2 Timothy 3. This portion of it says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good." I got into a disagreement with a friend because I said something about her son. I didn't use this word in the Bible, I used a more derogatory word, but in the end, she was my friend. So I thought, well, hey, this is my friend. I can tell my friend the truth. And I was kind of letting her know something about her son that she didn't want to hear. And, I talked with my aunt about it later, and she said she already knows. She already knows what's wrong with her son, what's going on with her son. She just did not want to hear it. In the same little circle, there was a man that I met when I first started going to the church that I was going to, and he bragged to me about how he could get a prayer through to God. And I didn't say anything. I listened, but when you're a Christian, you're supposed to make disciples. There was never an offering or any type of assistance. Not that I needed it, but he just felt like he needed to let me know that that's what he could do. And then fast forward, his brother-in-law dropped dead of a massive heart attack at an auction. And I think they brought him back to life through CPR 2 or 3 times, but he ultimately died. Uh, he didn't say anything about prayers or anything like that. Your children tell you everything. A person's child tells you everything that you need to know about that person. Good, the bad, and the ugly. It's all there. You just have to look at their children. And this particular man, whenever his daughter would come to the church, she always kind of looked at me really, really weird. And I was only like one of maybe 3 or 4 Black people that was going to this church. And so I understood the look. I knew what the look was. They don't really have a lot of Black people in their circle. And she was just surprised to see me in that church because, churches, unfortunately, specifically ones that are toward the South, are segregated. And this church was one of those that was, or that had been traditionally or started out as a segregated church. And when I say segregated, some of the older churches, they have it written in their bylaws, specifically the white churches, that Black people are not allowed to be members of their church. I never asked because I didn't really stay at the church long enough to find out, but this would have been one of those churches where when they created their bylaws, hey, that would have been something that was written into the bylaws because back in the early 1900s, I believe this church has been around since 1906, that would have been something that would have been written into their bylaws, and they never took it out. It just stayed in there, and the church is so old, they probably don't even realize that it's there. But the spirit behind it and the way some people act and the way some people are is just still there. But again, I wanted to talk to you about just being left behind. This message is technically for those people that post rapture are left behind. And then you're going to have that question on why was I left behind? Because I showed up to church every Sunday. I read my Bible, I prayed, I did, and none of that matters. It's a heart issue. It's a working on the heart issue. And that is ultimately what's going on. There's some more work that needs to be done in the area of the heart, that relationship with you and God. And the main thing, and I tell people all the time, not to be judging because, I don't read on the level like I used to and studying in the different things, but your walk, you need to know his word in order to get to know him and who he is. And if you have challenges or issues with people, that that is one of the things that you have to work on. There are certain things that are there that are so deeply ingrained within the psyche and within the heart from family traditions and things being passed down from generation to generation. And I say this because I was at a middle school baseball game, and the middle school used to be a high school. It was like the staple of the community. Everyone was proud of this building. The challenge is African American people were not even allowed to be on the property. My father grew up and he was not allowed to even walk across the property of that school because schools were segregated. And so the man and I were talking, and we were talking about school and everything. And he was like, oh, yeah, this used to go on and that used to go on. It was just a really great time in history. And I didn't say anything to him because it just didn't register. It was a great time for white people. And he didn't realize the things that were done in the dark. And he may have known some of the stuff, but they're choosing to either they can't see or they're being completely oblivious to what is going on or what had gone on and the abuse and the injustices that were served during that time to the African American community. And so it wasn't a good time for African American people, but it was a good time for white people in their communities and what they had going on. And he never even stopped to consider me, my family, my history. And he would have known that it was a segregated school. He would have known Black people were not allowed in that school. And I'm Black, and he never said a word about that part. But he talked about his experience and what he went through and how it was a good time. But he didn't say for him, he was meaning everyone. But it wasn't. And I don't regret speaking up and saying something because he was an elderly man. And I hate to bring up you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But what was the point in trying to bring up something that in his culture, he would have just shut down? And I know he would have shut down because I have tried to communicate the same things with people, older people that are white that I'm close to. I tried to communicate the same thing. And it just went over their head. And so I don't want to say you just give up because you don't want to give up. You want to keep fighting and doing. But all you can do ultimately is pray and walk away. But why was I left behind? Why, Lord? I don't understand. I'm a little bit angry. There was some more work done. You missed the mark. And you're going to have to fight and make up for it and do what you know you're supposed to be doing. And by doing that, with this video, I hope on a certain level that that's what I'm able to do here now. And just trying to, I don't even know if YouTube will be available post-rapture. I don't even know if you'll be able to see these videos. But this is before the rapture. And I am praying and believing that, hey, I will be one of those ready to go, because I'm watching and I'm praying and I'm still working on me. And I'm just having to trust in the Lord that everything will be okay regardless. But I pray that I've done enough and that I've been working enough and working on me. And as I sit here and tell you all this, I've upset a lot of people over the last few days, because I've been trying to tell people about the rapture. And if I haven't said anything to them about the rapture, I've been saying stuff to them about certain issues within them that need to be worked on. And it's not being well received. And so there are quite a few people that are upset with me at this time. And I didn't say it to be mean, but you speak up because you love a person. You don't speak up or call names or do whatever because, hey, I hate you. I've known you, you've known me. But a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of family, there have been elephants in the room. And I have some families say, I just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. Just go on with your life and let them. And is that really loving my neighbor by seeing something and then not saying anything? So I sent out a video, not a video, an email. I sent an email on our family email, because we have a family email that we communicate things with. And there's a lot of people on the list. Just mentioning and telling them about the rapture. And the main person that I wanted to communicate with, she was the only one out of everybody that spoke up. I guess everyone else just, thinks I'm crazy because, oh yeah, what is she talking about now? But the one cousin that I wanted her to respond, she responded. And I was able to make that appeal to her. And whether she accepts it or not, I don't know. But we were all raised the same way. We have the same foundation. I can only hope that she will not be one of the recipients of this particular video or having to see this particular video, because she will be caught up. One of the other things, she's got 2 sons. And so, children that have not reached that age of accountability, it is believed that they will be caught up as well, because they are children, they are innocent, and the Lord is divinely protecting them. But I do know the scripture says that, woe to that mother with the young child during the tribulation days, because she will need to feed her child, and she may end up giving in just so she can feed her child instead of holding on. And I wanted to put something out. I don't know if this comforts you, because at the end of the day, you still have to go through what you're going to go through, and you have to make it. And at the end of those 7 years, 1 out of every 3 people is going to be deceased. And it says in the Bible that there are going to be people that make it through the entire tribulation and never give their life over to the Lord. And at the end of that tribulation, the only thing they're going to find, if they have not given their life over to the Lord, is death, because they're going to be put to death at the end of the tribulation. So you don't want anyone to be left behind. You want everyone to be taken. You want everyone to have that opportunity. But people are going to have their hearts hardened more and more. Rather than give their life to God, they're going to blame God, and they're going to just be mad at God. And after the tribulation, or after the rapture, a lot of people that get left behind are just going to walk away from God. They're just going to be upset. They're going to be mad. God forbid, but some may even take the mark. But once you do that, your eternity will be sealed. But we want to see you in that heavenly place where we can all be together in a righteous kingdom. And that is just what I can give you right now to hopefully comfort you in this time. Maranatha. Maranatha.